Okay, so moving over to the other side of the garden, along the fence on one side of the house, the west side, I have some veggies. Let's see. There's squash and, let's see, zucchini, yellow squash. There are some nasturtiums over in the corner here. There's some gourds there. You know, I actually started those gourds from seed in the house 2 months ago, and they're still looking pretty pathetic, so I don't think I'm actually going to get any gourds. I also have some calendula, tomatoes, and I put up this little structure for my beans to grow up, and I had started the beans in the house like I do pretty much everything, most of my veggies. And I put the veggies out, and I put the beans out, and despite me covering them, the frost just knocked them right out. All dead, so sad. So I may put out a few more seeds direct in the ground directly. So asparagus, and so over here underneath the apple tree, a variety of things. The petals, of course, from the tree above that are falling are kind of like snow, a different kind of snow, a good kind. So we've got some columbine, some lamium, wild ginger, sweet woodruff, Jack in the pulpit hiding under there, Virginia bluebells and bloodroot in the back, tulip, and trillium, and mayapple behind the trillium. Lots of sweet woodruff over here. Some lungwort. And I'm sure there's some other things hiding underneath. But that's basically what's here. Moving on. Over in this area, got a couple little angels holding some stones. And again, pretty much what I tend to pick up are things that are quartzy or some form of agate or calcite, feldspar. I got some dinosaur kale, stock, which is one of the few things I actually bought this year. Most things I just do from seed. More columbine, and the angel holding stones. And so this is sort of the vegetable part of the garden. As you'll notice, my yard isn't very large. I live right downtown, so I'm kind of limited in what I can do, and it's kind of shady. These are some chard that were kind of growing pretty slowly relative to the rest, but there they are. More squash. And these are actually baby lovage. And I taught a gardening class back in early spring. And one of the things that we started in that class were this variety of Algerian lovage. I'm not quite sure. I think it's just going to look like our regular old lovage. Of course, they're babies now, and lovage is usually 4 feet tall, but yeah, so my little exotic lovage. Some more squash, tomatoes. There aren't a lot of things that I actually sow directly because our growing season is just so short here. But beets I do put directly in the ground just because if you move them around, the beets kind of get deformed. And the same with the carrots, so those are still very much babies. Got some curry, horseradish about to bloom. This is a patch of garden sorrel. Mr. Toad hiding back there. These are actually a wild nodding onion that I wildcrafted myself probably 10 years ago. And of course they seed themselves, and I started with one little plant, and now I've got row down here and then a row on the upper level. And my Swiss chard. I mentioned I kind of went overboard. I've got a lot of chard growing this year. A lot for one person, anyway. Of course, lettuces are something else I direct sow. So these little guys have been out here, maybe 3 weeks, I'd say. Actually, they went in before the last snowfall, so it may have been 4 weeks, actually. Fennel.